In this podcast episode, Joe Rogan interviews comedian Jim Gaffigan, covering a wide range of topics including health, cancer treatment, water quality, social media, corruption, parenting, companion planting, the pleasure of eating delicious meals, and the importance of staying busy and engaged in meaningful activities. The conversation begins with a discussion about Jordan Peterson's elimination diet and his discovery of autoimmune issues, including a negative reaction to vegetables. They explore the impact of diet on inflammation and health issues, as well as the potential for personalized cancer treatments based on individual genetics. They then delve into the negative effects of social media, particularly on mental health, especially among young people. They discuss online bullying, comparing oneself unfavorably to others, and the pressure to present a perfect image on social media platforms. They emphasize the need for more regulation and awareness of the harmful effects of social media. The conversation shifts to the topic of plastic pollution and its impact on the environment and human health. They discuss the leaching of chemicals from plastic bottles into water and the need for more sustainable alternatives, such as biodegradable plastics made from hemp fiber. They also touch on the corruption in the financial industry, specifically the case of Sam Bankman-Fried, who was charged with campaign finance violations but had the charges dropped. They discuss the influence of money in politics and the lack of regulation in the cryptocurrency industry. The importance of financial security and the changing perspective on money as one gets older is also discussed. They talk about the comfort and freedom that money can provide and the desire to avoid financial struggles. The challenges of parenting and the fear of the unknown when it comes to raising children are highlighted. They discuss the influence of external factors, such as peer groups and societal pressures, on children's development and well-being. The opioid crisis and the role of fentanyl in drug-related deaths are also addressed. They discuss the financial motivations behind the production and distribution of fentanyl, as well as its potency and the dangers of lacing other drugs with it. The benefits of cold plunges and saunas for physical and mental health are explored. They discuss the release of endorphins and the anti-inflammatory effects of cold exposure, as well as the increase in testosterone levels. They go on to discuss the joys of gardening and the satisfaction of growing one's own food. They talk about the meditative nature of gardening and the sense of accomplishment that comes from nurturing plants and harvesting the fruits of one's labor. The conversation continues with a discussion on politics and corruption, specifically focusing on former President Donald Trump and current President Joe Biden. Gaffigan expresses his belief that both Trump and Biden are corrupt, but acknowledges that there is currently more evidence of corruption surrounding Biden. He criticizes the influence of money in politics and the lack of true representation in government, highlighting how politicians often prioritize profits over serving the people. The role of the media in shaping public opinion is also explored. Gaffigan and Rogan discuss the overwhelming amount of information that people are exposed to on a daily basis, which makes it difficult for individuals to focus on important issues and demand accountability. They emphasize the need for independent news sources and critical thinking to counteract the influence of corporate interests and propaganda. The conversation then shifts to environmental concerns, with a focus on overfishing and the depletion of fish populations in the world's oceans. Gaffigan and Rogan discuss the potential for there to be more plastic than fish in the future and question why more is not being done to address this crisis. They also touch on the importance of organic and regenerative farming practices, which prioritize natural methods and avoid the use of harmful chemicals. Gaffigan emphasizes the need to take care of the environment and make healthier food choices. The podcast also delves into wealth disparity and the influence of corporations. Gaffigan and Rogan question why CEOs earn significantly more than the general population and discuss the need to address this wealth gap. They express frustration with the lack of inspiring leaders in politics and the influence of money in the system. Throughout the conversation, Gaffigan and Rogan highlight the importance of finding joy and focusing on positive things despite the challenges facing society. They discuss the impact of media depictions of reality and the pressure to live up to unrealistic standards. They also touch on the advancements in technology and access to information, noting the overwhelming amount of information available. They go on to discuss various topics related to promoting shows and the abundance of content available on platforms like Amazon. Gaffigan emphasizes the importance of letting people know about shows and highlights the success of shows like The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel in attracting viewers through word of mouth. He also mentions The Terminal List as an example of Amazon's growing collection of great shows. They agree that sometimes people only find out about shows later on and regret not knowing about them earlier. Gaffigan mentions that he often hears about great shows from friends and appreciates the power of word of mouth in attracting viewers. The discussion then moves on to the disappointment that can arise when a show's first season is excellent but subsequent seasons fail to live up to expectations. Gaffigan and Rogan agree that this can be a letdown for viewers who were initially drawn to the show. They mention examples of shows that started strong but lost their momentum in later seasons. The conversation then shifts to the difficulty of creating quality content consistently. Gaffigan acknowledges that producing a great second season is a challenging task. He mentions that sometimes creators feel pressure to maintain the same level of excellence as the initial season, which can be a daunting task.